I'm here to remind you that tomorrow's voting day, and I'm here to say I'm counting on your support.
The US presidential election takes place every 4 years. If you want to make it into the White House, it's a long and tough fight.
I will fight for you, and I will win for you.
Battling your opponents in front of the nation, putting everything on the line to become leader of the free world.
Before you can even think about running, you have to meet 3 basic criteria. These were written into the Constitution by America's founding fathers. You have to be 35 years or older, born in the US, and you have to have lived here for at least 14 years. So it sounds like there's a lot of people who could be president, but there's one crucial thing any candidate needs: money, and lots of it.
But he is spending hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to buy the election.
So how expensive is running for president? The 2016 election cost a massive $2.4 billion. Most of this money came from rich donors. Usually the Republican and Democrat nominees spend roughly the same amount in the fight for the White House. However, Donald Trump beat his rival Hillary Clinton by spending only half as much as her. His domination of the news cycle, whether good or bad coverage, gave him a huge and free boost.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
I like him so much. He's so charismatic and he's not politically correct.
Build that wall, build that wall, build that wall.
But where does all this money go on the campaign trail? A lot goes on advertising, and airtime is expensive. Then there's the staff who strategize and the consultants who carry out polling, and lots of travelling to rallies and events all over the country.
To provide that proven leadership is our challenge in 1992, and that is why today I proudly announce my candidacy for President of the United States of America.
So money is really important, but name recognition also helps. Americans have elected an actor and a TV star to the White House.
We had tremendous success on The Apprentice.
And the presidency has attracted members of several political dynasties. If you're not an A-lister, a background in politics helps. Presidential contenders often come from the House of Representatives or the Senate.
US presidents can only serve 2 terms, so depending on how long the current president has been in office, one or both major parties will be selecting a new nominee before an election. The Republicans and Democrats decide their nominee by holding a series of primaries and caucuses. These votes are held in counties across each state and staggered throughout an election year. In a primary, voters cast a ballot in secret. But a caucus is a much more public and often raucous affair. Iowa and New Hampshire are the first states to decide.
New Hampshire has long been known as a bump in the road for frontrunners.
Candidates who do well in these early races get a huge boost to their campaign. But the nomination isn't won that easily, and you have to listen to the voters.
Now, thanks to all of you, the heart of the Democratic Party, we just won, and we've won big because of you.
For some, it's all about picking the right moment to drop out and endorse the frontrunner.
We are now some 300 delegates behind Vice President Biden, and the path toward victory is virtually impossible.
Eventually, a party selects a nominee, and their bid for the White House comes down to getting the maths right. When Americans head to the polls, they're not actually voting for a candidate. Technically, they're voting for electors who are aligned with a party. This system is known as the Electoral College. Each state has a certain number of Electoral College votes based on population. To become president, you need to win 270 votes.
You can predict the way some states are likely to vote. For instance, Texas usually backs a Republican, while California tends to go with a Democrat. So the election really comes down to a few key swing states like Michigan and Florida. It's entirely possible that someone could win more votes than any other candidate at the ballot box, but lose the Electoral College and therefore lose the election.
Which is exactly what happened to Hillary Clinton.
This is not the outcome we wanted or we worked so hard for, and I'm sorry that we did not win this election.
So how do candidates capture public imagination? A memorable catchphrase helps.
We are going to make America great again.
and you need to perform well under pressure.
He's unfit, and he proves it every time.
You
he
are the
talks.
one that's unfit. You know, WikiLeaks just actually came out. John Podesta said some horrible things about you. And boy, was he right.
And it's good to have stamina.
You already are the oldest president in history, and some of your staff say you were tired after your most recent encounter with Mr. Mondale. Is there any doubt in your mind that you would be able to function in such circumstances?
Not at all. I will not make age an issue of this campaign. I am not going to exploit, for political purposes, my opponent's youth and inexperience.
America's president gets to rule the world's most powerful country. You can start and end wars and determine the direction of the global economy. The campaign may seem like an endurance test, but it's just the beginning for whoever wins.
Tonight, more than 200 years after a former colony won the right to determine its own destiny, the task of perfecting our union moves forward.
The hard work really starts when you enter the White House.
Thank you. God bless America.